can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Good stuff. All right. Let's start this interview now. Uh, how was your day?
A little stressful, but yeah, it's cool. Um, hey Sam, Division Two is still too much, bro. They want 32.99, man. Like that's too much. Still too much. Fucking ass, man. I don't want. Is it fucking good? Should we really invest in Division? Really? Okay, a raise of hands if you think we should get Division. Nobody? Cool.
All right. Would you like to start?
This is an interview, so I'm waiting on you, man.
All right. Uh, First of all, I want to ask, what got you into gaming, and I'd like to know the story.
Division. Okay, Sam, send the 16, man. We split it. Fuck it. Okay, what got me into gaming? I don't know, man. It was the 90s. So that's when I got Nintendo. I say Nintendo got me into gaming. That was my first introduction into gaming, seeing NES and seeing my brother play Mario and being able to play Duck Hunter for the first time with the gun. And then besides that, I just stick with Nintendo. I mean, later on down the line, I got a PlayStation 1. It was beside the N64, but in comparison, when I first got it, I was still on the N64 more until until there were more games that I liked for the PlayStation. But I wouldn't consider myself like a PlayStation fan at that time or a hardcore fan. I think that came like later on down the line in 2015 with the PSP, Monster Hunter, and shit like that.
All right. Very cool. Uh, how well do you think the gaming industry is doing right now? And do you think there's like any problems with it specifically?
Um, I mean, I'm not a professional, so I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I'm a gamer and I'm happy. I like the quality of games that are out. Um, and I think that's enough for me. I'm getting great games from first party developers. Third party developers, not so much, but I mean, they've dropped enough games this generation that I actually take a chance on. I didn't really take a lot of chances on third party development um, last gen. So yeah.
All right. What do you think about microtransactions like loot boxes? Do you think they should remain on like free to play games, or is it okay to have them on paid games?
I don't support loot boxes. I don't support microtransactions. I don't want them in the games at all. I think that a gamer like myself that grew up in a time that I grew up, you used to be able to beat the games and then get rewarded with the character after you beat the game or the campaign, or you will get different perks or different outfits after you get like a special time or something. I remember on Tony Hawk, there were like cheat codes you had, you know. So I don't agree with DLC from the type of, when I started gaming, no, man. I mean, all of that shit is still there. You just now have to pay for it. And I don't agree with that. So I don't support it. I don't support DLC. I don't support microtransactions. Now, as far as like a game like Monster Hunter that's coming out with an expansion, I guess I can make some exceptions for expansions to tell more of the story of a current game. That would be dope. But no, what games like Fortnite is doing, I hate that. You're baiting little kids in with bright colors and funny dances and shit like that. I don't agree with it.
Okay, very cool. Uh, so the PS4 has just surpassed 100 million units in sales recently. How do you feel about this, and what specific message does this bring
That's
to the gaming
shipped. That's
community?
shipped. It shipped
Shipped.
100 million. It
Okay.
hasn't sold to consumer. When it's is sold to consumer, I can give a better, you know, I don't know. I guess I can give a better answer to that question. But it shows that gamers really like what PlayStation has been selling. Exclusives are doing their job and selling the hardware, and that's what really matters. If you're not selling your hardware, you might as well just put your games on everybody's platform. If your exclusives cannot sell your hardware compared to your other competitors, I don't really see a reason for you to stay in the console race at all. So I would say Xbox should drop out. Nintendo and Sony, they can stay. They have their respective communities, um, and fans that like what they're selling. Whether Nintendo is with handheld, or you got PlayStation with just high quality AAA award winning exclusives. People know why they're buying a Nintendo's platform or a Sony PlayStation platform. For Xbox right now, I don't think a lot of people know why they're supporting that.
Okay. Uh, what is your most favorite first-party title on the PS4 currently, and why?
My favorite current. Oh, that's gonna be a hard one. Let's see. Let's. Mm, I probably would have to go with Bloodborne or God of War. Uh, because the challenge. Um, there was a lot of challenge there. I'm not saying other games weren't harder, but there was a type of challenge that made me not want to give up and kept just going and going. And I like a game that gives me a challenge. I mean, Last of Us gave me a fucking hard challenge. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure if I played any of these other games on those extreme difficulties, they would have gave me an even harder challenge than The Last of Us. But I liked that the game kept pushing me. I liked that God of War added a deeper RPG mechanic, you know, armors and weapon upgrades. I like that shit. Bloodborne, I like the fact that it was a gritty game. You could team up with people in the communities for co-op and shit. It was dope. It was a great game. I'm hoping they make a sequel or follow up. So, yeah.
Cool stuff. Do you believe that consoles need more than just exclusives in order to push a competitive market?
What do you think about that?
Well, I do believe that games obviously sell the consoles, but I also have to say that features can play a factor into it as well. Like the Switch, you see it has portability with AAA titles. I think that's pretty interesting. So what would you have to say about that?
Exclusives are the reason why people want to play those games portable. You're not gonna get the worst version of Witcher just to play that shit on the go. Nobody can trick me into believing somebody wants to buy a downgraded multi-platform game from a third-party developer that you already don't trust just so you can play it outside. That's impossible. That anybody is going to sit up here and say, I want to play a worse version of this game just because I have the ability to play it outside. So I don't believe that. I do believe, from many Nintendo fans, that Smash Brothers, Zelda, Mario continue to drive people to want to play those games. So that's what I think. I think people really want to play those games. And they're exclusives and they're on the go. Not to mention, of course, a very, very big game, which is Pokemon. You know, they want to play that game and they want to play it on the go, maybe, but it's exclusive. That's the reason why they're buying it.
So the Wii U, uh, as you know,
Didn't
was
sell.
yep, it was a flop out of the box, but it had great first-party titles, and there was, I guess, a minority that bought a Wii U to play those titles. But however, the marketing was trash, and that's why it didn't do as well as it did. Didn't have a really good name either, and I guess that's what caused people who had the Wii to think that it's just a, a gamepad add-on for the Wii. But then we have the PS2, which experts say that it's the cheapest DVD player for its time, and that's what caused it to sell so well. And it also had a 1 year head start ahead of the Xbox and GameCube.
Repeat that again. I couldn't hear you. I got some work done. I just wanted to hear that if you don't mind. Can you repeat that again?
Okay, so yes, I was saying that the PS2 sold really well because experts claim that it was the cheapest DVD player for its time, and that it had a 1 year head start over the original Xbox and the GameCube.
I agree if experts want to say that, but PS2 had the largest library of exclusives ever. Uh, Amazing exclusives that started franchises that we still love today. Also, it was riding a wave of the very first console ever sell over 100 million, and that was the PlayStation 1. So a lot of people, despite it having a DVD player included, they went to the PS2 because how much they enjoyed the PlayStation 1. And even like you said, we're talking about Xbox adopters, we're talking about Nintendo GameCube owners. They also eventually got a PS2. That's why the PS2 is the highest selling gaming console. At a certain point, it didn't really matter if it could play DVDs. It was about the games. That's what drew people to it. That's why people continue to buy the games. That's why people continue to buy the PS2. I think it's sitting at like 150 something million.
Correct.
Yeah. So besides it having a DVD player and head, that's not the reason why it won. I mean, we could use that same example and prove you wrong, and that's the 360. The 360 came out a year ahead of the competitors, but the Wii was the highest selling gaming console. And then on top of that, although the PS3 came out at $600 and didn't have a strong lineup in the beginning, it ended up making one of the biggest comebacks ever, outselling the Xbox 360 that launched at a cheaper price and a whole year ahead of it. So just because you launch first and you have, I guess, a type of format, which you got to remember. I think they came out with HD DVD after they found out about the PS3, so that's not the best comparison. But yeah, they did have HD DVD. It flopped. They invested in it. They had a what is it? External HD DVD player for the 360. It didn't sell well. It didn't help. If they would have used the HD DVD technology within the 360, making their games probably look better and play better, I think that the system, that platform could have been save HD DVDs, but Blu-ray ended up being just much better. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you come out a year ahead. It really doesn't. Like let's say the PS4. The PS4 came out a week ahead of the Xbox, right? Just 1 week. And the Xbox couldn't keep up. So, that's just a week, you know. So I don't know. I don't like using that example. That seems like a played out example. I've never actually heard that before. Somebody say the PS2 won because it came out a year ahead. Where do you read that?
The PS2 came out in 2000, and the original Xbox came out in 2001.
Yeah, but that's their fault. That's not Sony's fault. Microsoft was just getting into the gaming race, and of course, we all know they were very confused about what the fuck was going on.
GameCube was also 2001.
Again, that's Nintendo. We know Nintendo can't be held to the same standards of PlayStation coming out with a system, again, a blue ocean strategy. PlayStation came out with a traditional system. Nintendo came out with the Wii, which was a gimmicky system with a peripheral. So you can't really compare the two. I mean, look at Nintendo now. They came out with a Nintendo Switch, 2 years ago now, and the next generation of consoles is starting. That means they've been off since the Wii, I believe. Yeah, I believe they've been off since the Wii, because the GameCube flopped and they had to move forward very fast. So when they came out with the Wii, it was already a generation behind in terms of power. So not the best comparison.
Okay. Last generation, PS3 players were able to play online free of charge, as the 360 players had to pay an annual $50 fee. This has changed since Sony and Nintendo creating their own similar online subscription services for the current generation in response. Do you think this is just a cash grab, or is there more to it?
Well, Sony lost a lot of money by having free servers. That's all I know. I don't work for Sony, so I wouldn't know, but I do know that you can't give everything away for free all the time. You have to have some money for your servers. And as much money as that PlayStation lost, whether it was the PS3 itself or having free online, or games not selling last gen, I'm glad that they're in a good position. And that position helps the gamers get better quality games.
Okay. So they give away these monthly games every month. Do you think these are actually free?
Somebody made a good point. The games we're getting next week, right? That's like Sniper Elite 4 and Wipeout Omega Collection, which includes 2 Wipeout games that came out on a PS3 and a remaster of the Wipeout game that came out on a Vita. You're getting multiplayer gameplay for that one. You're getting 4K support. You're getting 60 frames per second. You're getting VR support. And again, multiplayer, and then you look over at the Sniper Elite, you add all of that stuff together. Sometimes we get two games that cost more than the $60 a year. So when you look at it that way, it's a benefit. Also, I've gotten a lot of games that have discounts, whether they're on sale or they have these promotions when a game is about to come out, like Black Desert. Black Desert is about to come to the PS4, and they've given us a 10% discount if you have PlayStation Plus. So you're saving on that type of stuff. I've saved on themes and avatars due to having PlayStation Plus. So it all depends. I don't think that I'm giving $60 a year to PlayStation and then not getting any discount, because I see them. I see them all the time. So it depends. It depends on how you look at it. If you're paying $60 a year and you're not downloading the games that they give you every month, and you're not buying games that have the discount symbol on it, then maybe you're definitely not getting these games for free. But if you are, and you start adding up all the savings, and it's more than $60 that you spent for one whole year, you can start to say that, yes, I'm getting this game for free. This isn't included in the price. This is more than what I paid for. You see what I'm saying? I'm saving more.
Interesting.
Same thing with Amazon, if you look at it that way. I pay for Amazon. I get free shipping. If I didn't have Amazon Prime, I would be paying for shipping for a lot of products that I buy. So Amazon Prime is saving me money. I pay $10. I think it's $10 or some shit like that for Amazon Prime. I'm saving a lot on shipping. I mean, it's all depending on how you look at it. Some people are gonna say PlayStation Plus is useless. You're not saving anything. Some of those people don't have PlayStation Plus, so I can't really take them seriously. So it all depends on who you're looking at and who you're talking to and what they're buying.
We all know that Xbox didn't have a lot of success compared to the other platforms. Do you think there's anything in particular that's interesting to you in what Xbox currently offers?
Not really.
Any like franchises that interest you at all, or like Halo or Forza? Nothing like that.
No, I never really. If I was interested in that stuff, I could get a 360 or Xbox for it. The Xboxes are very, very, very cheap. If you must know, they're super, super cheap. So, yeah, I think that I could have definitely got one by now. But no, Sunset Overdrive. But we don't know how that works out. You know, we got games on PlayStation that ends up going to Xbox and PC all the time. So sometimes those types of games on Xbox end up going to PC or PS4. So I don't see myself buying a Xbox One just for Sunset. I'm interested in it, but not that interested.
Cool. What do you think of Xbox Game Pass, and how do you think it stacks up to PlayStation Now at the moment?
I don't use it, but if you use it, maybe you could help me out. But I don't use it. I don't. I've been very curious how, if you pay $1 and you get Game Pass, how does that help the developers? How do they get paid off of that $1 subscription from that one user being able to play all those games just for $1? How do they get their money? We don't know how much a game sells when you're dealing with subscription because everything's bundled. So I'm confused about that. So I don't understand how that helps the industry or help individual developers, indie game developers. I don't know how one person getting Game Pass for $1. I don't understand how that helps. Do you have Game Pass? Any experience with it?
I tried it out on PC once. Uh, Basically it's just a bunch of games they shove. Uh, Play them for a month or whatever time you pay for, and You can like get all the achievements and stuff like that. You just gotta keep paying. And apparently there's a 20% discount on full game purchases if you're subscribed. But I've only tried it a few times and I don't know, it's just not for me. Subscriptions aren't for everyone.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So, what do you think of the Switch? They recently announced a light version of it, and it actually outsold the PS4 in Japan. So, I
I
want to see
think
your thoughts.
that a cheaper system is good for Nintendo. I think they've always been the king of handhelds, and that's never going to change. The Switch, to me, is a handheld in disguise. And for the first time, and it didn't take too long, less than 2 years, that they've actually admitted that the Switch was a handheld. So they came out with a Switch that should not be called the Switch because it can't switch. So this new handheld, Nintendo handheld, can't connect to your TV. There's never going to be any plug sold allowing you to connect this handheld only Switch to your TV. So the gimmick is gone. It's just the handheld. They took $100 off, which means, and I want to ask you this question: do you believe the connection, the docking station, do you believe that's worth the $100?
I think
Because they knocked $100 off of the Switch, and I'm trying to figure out why. Like something was $100, and it obviously was the docking station that connects to the TV. Do you believe the docking station was worth $100?
that I'm not very sure about, but I think yeah, they should have included at least some connection to the TV if they wanted to market a cheaper version of this. And I don't think it makes sense for them to remove that feature because that's pretty much one of the
Yeah.
main parts of the Switch. It's like having it a portable device that you can hook up to your TV when you're at home, and you can play games at higher resolutions, stuff like that.
Yeah, I've had a something similar to the Switch many years ago. It was called the PSP. You could buy a cord, right? And
Mhm.
this cord would connect to the bottom of your PSP, and then the other end had like a yellow or red and a white port to connect to your TV. And at that point in time, you could actually be on the go, come home, plug it up to your TV, and play what you're playing on the PSP on your TV. So I've had that experience. So the Switch isn't really that brand new to me. I've had a lot of experiences with PlayStation, starting with the PSP, which was a very amazing system.
All right.
But yeah, let me see. Where is this one?
So, how do you think PC gaming is doing for the industry, and how do you view the community?
I'm not a PC gamer, but if you spent more time on PC than me, maybe you can help me out. I don't know how good they're doing. We don't really get like a whole bunch of sales information on PC because it's such an open platform. So I don't know. I don't know how they're doing. I would like to know, but I don't know. I have no idea how good PC is doing.
Okay, I do have a source for you here. I'm gonna send it to you right now, and it's saying that there are 1.8 billion PC gamers in the world.
Is
No,
that users?
1.8 billion gamers in the world, but most of that is PC gaming.
Okay. Hmm.
It says there's 1.2 billion playing on PC right now.
Star. Fucking star. Yeah, I wanted to know. I've always got these different numbers. This is the biggest number I've gotten. Normally they range specifically for Steam because the majority of PC gamers use Steam. So PC gamers give me numbers 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, but never a billion. They never claim that a billion people are gaming on PC. It's kind of hard to track that big number, and nobody actually used it. This is the first. But with that, I wanted to know, why don't more games sell on PC as far as casual style AAA developers, ones that primarily do very well on console? Why don't those games do good on PC with like a billion people primarily playing on, or whatever portion of that number playing on PC? Wouldn't that mean the games would sell much better regardless of their quality, just because the sheer amount of people that use the PC? I mean, that is the case that we're dealing with during the console generation, this current one, where PS4 is gobbling up the majority of sales from a multiplat that might even be on Xbox, PC, and Nintendo Switch at the same time. The PS4 always outsells the other. So why is that? Why isn't the PC outselling the rest of the console versions of any specific multiplat that I can pull out of my ass? Let's say, I don't know, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, your generic multiplat, Need for Speed, stuff like that. You got more people that use a PC for gaming purposes than consoles, or all consoles combined. So why don't games do better over there, sales wise? Like in the
Well,
first year,
what I
because
think is
that's what a
that
lot of developers are having a problem. They don't see themselves doing very good in the first year over there.
what I do think is that
Damn the quality, fucking
we all know
hot.
that PC has the most games out of all the platforms combined, and I think that there's so much games on PC that it's hard to keep up with all of them, and the AAA industry tends to be more popular on consoles, and that's just pretty much the mainstream platform for those kind of games. But I do know that some specific franchises can be more popular on the PC platform, like Overwatch, stuff like that, and Call of Duty is more of a console kind of franchise. So it really just depends on the game, in my opinion.
Okay, I guess we can move on to the next question.
Okay, so you do you believe that most PC gamers are so-called port beggars?
No, not unless I see a petition for a billion.
Do you think
I
that
do want to know, if PC is superior, why is the majority of PlayStation exclusives so enticing? PC is superior. You can customize it. You can make it run frame rates beyond anything consoles can achieve in this lifetime, resolutions higher than any console in the future or past, right? You have access to games that are going to come out in the future. You have access to games from over 20, 30 years ago through emulation. Uh, you have a lot of things you can do with the PC. So I was wondering why so many PC gamers, this generation especially, I've never really had a run-in with PC gamers much last gen. But this gen, I know that the PS4 is a little bit more powerful than the PS3. The games look prettier. The story in these games are better. Yeah, you have a lot of people actually playing these games and buying these games, so you're going to see them even after the game comes out. You're going to see people streaming them. You're going to see pictures. You're going to see videos on YouTube. So you can't really escape the hype of said exclusive, right? But I do want to know, if PC is the best and it has the best games, why should any petition be made for a single PlayStation exclusive if the technology the game was made for is inferior?
I think that people suffer. Well, 30 FPS is pretty common for these kind of games, and as we know, some people can suffer from motion sickness from low frame rates, and I guess those people just want to be able to run those kind of games at higher frame rates.
But this is what I was just telling you. Those people normally don't even own a PS4 to begin with to suffer from those ailments, right? They have a PC. They have the ability to play at a resolution that will never give them, motion sickness, right?
Hmm.
So I'm still trying to figure out, why do the PC community, this generation compared to any other generation, why do they care so much?
I guess that vocal minority might not realize that emulation's a thing.
I mean,
So,
emulation is a thing. I've talked to the PC community about it since last year. I've had multiple debates, multiple interviews similar to this one. I've asked people for links for the emulator. I think I got a lead a couple months ago, something called Orbital, but it's not perfected yet. I've looked on, Reddit. I looked on, a lot of other places to try to figure out, is it working? What games can run on PC? It ended up being a dead end. So I I laugh at most of the PC gamers when they keep talking about emulation, not because I don't believe in it. I've used emulation on this computer to play PSP games. I've used emulation on my cell phone in prior years to play N64 titles and Game Boy Advance titles. I know emulation exists. I know this. I believe in it, right? I just don't know or believe in the PS4. The system is not shit. If it was shit, the emulation would have been done 5 years ago when the system first came out. But obviously, you guys are having some problems because the system is not shit. And the games aren't shit either. So, running these games that the developer decided to put in 30 frames per second at 60 frames and a higher resolution, I mean, I don't think it also requires a powerful computer, a more greater understanding of what you're dealing with. These are not just basic games. They are exclusives. They're Sony first party exclusives. The quality is much better than a lot of the games you've been playing exclusively on PC, including MMOs or RTSs or any other genre that does not really get a lot of games on PlayStation. So I have a question. Are you currently using an emulator to play PS4 games? Do you have a link to that emulator?
I know Orbital is the PS4 emulator that's being worked on right now. I don't
Is
think it
it
even
done?
works. It can only boot into safe mode. That's what I heard, and that's it.
So does it run any games? Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Uncharted 4?
At the moment,
At the moment, yes.
not at the moment.
Okay, so I've been hearing PC fans talk about they don't need a PS4 for over 5 years in the comment section of my videos, teasing me, saying that I don't need a PS4 because emulation. So you mean to tell me for 5 years in the comment section of my YouTube videos, people were lying to me when they said that they can play these games on their PC through emulation. But the major emulation called Orbital isn't done yet. So
Yeah,
how
they're
long?
gonna have
So
to wait for
Orbital will be done when the PS5 comes out.
possibly.
So that means you waited the whole generation to play a PS5, PS4 game on your PC when you could have just got a PS4. I mean, I'm not telling anybody not to wait. If that's what you guys want to do, I'm all for it. Just continue to wait. But I mean, I don't see the reason to suffer.
Do you think that the console gamers are also begging for games that are only on PC?
I've saw a lot of everybody begging, axing, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, when you call yourself PC Master Race, I don't expect you guys to really want for anything. I mean, PC Master Race, console gamers get called peasants by the PC gamers, although the majority of the PC community I've talked to on Discord since last year all told me that they were young, they're living with their parents, they are still in school, they don't actually have the money, and of course, they didn't even buy or build their PC with their own funding. So if you really look at who's poor and who can actually support their gaming hobby, it will be console gamers, specifically PS4 gamers, seeing as though most PS4 gamers have been with PlayStation for 4 generations. They're clearly adults. I have tons of friends that have kids. They have a full family. They're living in their own house. They paid for. They're driving. All of that shit. So they can really actually support their hobby. They can go out and buy a game day one and support the developer that they admire and the games that they love to play. They don't have to wait for an emulator in order to play the game for free on a platform of their choosing. So I'm still not understanding why people want our games. If you're the master race, you guys have all the games you want. Every game, the best games, best frame rate, best resolution. There's no reason to even look at Uncharted. Don't even look at Bloodborne. Spider-Man doesn't need to be looked at. Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding. None of those games need to be looked at. If a developer in the third-party category decides to bring that game to your platform at a later date, that's their decision. I can't fight that. I can't stop that. That's cool. But the people that are begging for those games on change.org, those developers are looking for you to actually support, not the following year, but the day that it comes out. And that's one thing that I don't agree with. If you're going to beg for a game, I expect you to buy it. But I go back, check with a lot of PC gamers that tease me about Crash Bandicoot going to PC or Yakuza going to PC, and the majority of them still haven't brought the games.
Alright, I want to ask if it's possible for third-party devs to create games that can surpass the success and quality of first-party console titles.
You said you won't ask or you are going to ask?
I want to ask.
Oh, so do you think that third-party developers can make games better than exclusives?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Enlighten me. I mean, I play multiplats. I play third-party games, not as many as exclusives. I mean, I got Kingdom Hearts 3. Spider-Man outsold that, even though it came out last year. Still outselling it. Persona 5 did better than Shin Megami Tensei on the 3DS. It still broke all records on the PS5 compared to the Persona 4 on the Vita or the Persona 4 on PS2. Bloodborne did better than Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. So, I mean, do you have a game that's a third-party title that's on everybody's platform that sells better and is just completely better? I mean, God of War was on one platform, and it sold better, and it got a better score, and it got more awards than Red Dead Redemption 2. So, I mean, I don't know. Can you tell me if a game is, capable of that?
I'm
Because I
about
don't.
to send you 2 links that show the most popular games of all time. And
So we're talking about all time. We're not talking about this specific generation, right?
that's right.
Well, I didn't understand the question. You didn't state that you were talking about of all time. You asked me, do I believe if a third party game can surpass an exclusive game? And since we're in the here and now, I thought you were talking about this generation. So I guess I can rephrase that to reflect that on what you're talking about. Do you believe right now, this generation from 2013 to 2020, there has been a multi-platform game that has done very good compared to exclusives? Because
Uh,
there are lots of exclusives that are specifically on one platform that PC fans don't think is very good, whether you believe it's inferior or the frame rates make you have motion sickness or whatever the excuse is. But these games are selling on one platform, like Spider-Man being the best-selling superhero game of all time, surpassing Batman, which was also on the PC and got remastered for Xbox One and PS4. So it was released 2 different times. So I was wondering, this generation, which is very important because I don't live in the past, I live in the here and now. Have you saw any game that you would choose over exclusive that's on everybody's platform, at least 3 or more platforms?
there's Grand Theft Auto 5. There's Minecraft. These are just some examples.
I would love to agree with you, but those games out this generation, Grand Theft 2013, December 2013 to be specific, to now or next year.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You were cutting out a little bit.
Is there any game that came out recently, like 2013 to 2020?
I do know that Red Dead Redemption 2 is up there.
You played it,
I have not, but I know that it's a very popular game.
but do you know if it's... I also said multiplats, 3 platforms or higher, because if you're looking at a game that's 3 platforms or higher, chances are it's also going to be on the PC. I don't think it's fair to talk about Red Dead. So we're going to use this, and this is a debate or interview, whatever you want to call it, and you seem to have more knowledge on PC than I do. I don't think it's fair to talk about a game that you don't have experience with. I did play the game. I got pretty far, and then I got very, very bored with the game. I've played many games that I played for way more hours, and it still kept my attention compared to Red Dead. A lot of other friends had a similar problem when they thought the game was over. The epilogue started where you had to take care of a fucking farm, and everybody just wanted it to fucking end, but it didn't. So there was reasons why it's not the most popular game compared to God of War, where you see people getting tattoos of Kratos and shit on their skin and wearing hats and shit, but you don't see a lot of that shit for Red Dead Redemption because it came in second place. Any game you play this generation that's a multi-plat, 3 or more platforms, you think is better than some of the exclusives that released this gen?
Uh, I know Cyberpunk 2077 is gonna be a big one.
Yeah, but that hasn't came out yet. I'm talking about games that actually came out and you've played and beaten.
Uh, I've played Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, I played that too.
Resident Evil 2.
So, do you think Resident Evil 2 and Monster Hunter World are better than PS4 exclusives? Every last one of them?
Well, I have spent more time with those games than I have with
Yeah, I
some of
have
the
too.
exclusives I
I
have for
got
my
over 1,000
PS4.
hours in Monster Hunter, but I still don't think it's better than some of the PlayStation exclusives I played. I mean, it's very fun. It's very addicting, but I wouldn't say that it's better than the PlayStation exclusives that given me a healthier story than Monster Hunter. You know.
Alright. So, imagine being wealthy. Would you be willing to spend your money to own and play on all currently relevant video game platforms?
If I didn't have to work, that would be a definitely yes. But you got to remember, I have had a lot of money over the time I've been working. All these many, many years, right? And I could have owned every platform. I'm getting paid this week, right? I can other half of my check, I can go buy a $200 Nintendo Switch Lite and a $210 Xbox One, right? That would give me the other two of the 3 consoles that are out right now. But where would I find the time to play all those games? That's what I deal with. I pick what I believe is going to be the system that's going to give me the quality of games that I want. And that's what I support. It's about the games. I love MMOs. I haven't played them as much as I want because I don't have the time. Also, a good majority of the MMOs I found any type of interest in were actually only on PC. But after playing exclusives for so many years this gen, I found out that a lot of those MMOs have slowly but surely, year by year, been getting ported to the PS4. Did I ask the developers for those ports? No. Did I sign a petition? They came over here. That was something that they did.
Okay. So, many of the viewers that have seen your videos claim that you are a fanboy for being toxic towards anything that's not PlayStation related. And they've also claimed that you're trying to spread news about the behavior of the PC gaming community. And do you think this is wrong?
I'm trying to spread what about the PC gaming community?
Fake news.
Fake news? Like give me an example of fake news I've spread it about the PC gaming community.
They call them port beggars, I guess.
Well, if
That's
the
just an
majority of
example
the
I know.
petitions that get gaming articles that I have no affiliation with are spread around the internet, I mean, call it how I see it. When you see IGN or GameSpot or N4G or VG247 or Games Radar making an article about a petition that has more than average signatures of a game that's exclusively for the PlayStation, they publicize what you're doing. I'm not the first person that called you guys PC port beggars. I'm not the first person. I saw that way before I started making videos about you. I mean, I think you guys picked up on me maybe because I'm got a little bit more subscribers than the other people that might have, said it, or I have a YouTube channel and I'm not sure if those other people in the comment section have one. But you focus on what I say, but not on what anybody else is. A lot of other people think you guys are port beggars too. Again, you have a superior platform. You should really enjoy everything that platform has to offer. There's no reason for worrying about PlayStation exclusives. So I would tell you to play those amazing exclusives that are on Steam. Wait for that emulator to be done and then deal with it. But as I know, the PS3 emulator isn't even perfected, and that generation is over. This generation is almost over. And you guys are still suffering with a PS3 emulator that can't play every PS3 game. So when a PS5 comes out, you're going to be another generation behind. So I don't know. So I want to ask you, do you believe the port begging will stop next gen? When the PS5 comes out and comes out with exclusive games, do you think people will still beg for those games to be on the PC? Even though you can't get emulators to run every PS3 title or PS4 games.
I'd say that the majority of PC gamers usually don't care about those exclusives, but there's a vocal minority that does.
So
And
if the majority of the PC gamers don't care about those exclusives, why should a developer port those games to your platform if they're not going to get everybody's support?
that you would have to ask that vocal minority who signed those petitions. I don't know why they.
They're not only talking about petitions. That's just a small fraction of the videos that I've made. I've made tons of videos on the people that are on Twitter contacting developers personally, stalking them on Instagram and everything else, trying to figure out if the developer wants to put their game on the PC. So it's not just change.org. It's everywhere. I've saw it in the YouTube comment sections when Death Stranding first came out. People were saying, when is this game coming to PC? It's hot.
All right. Uh, so when you created the PlayStation Legion, what was the purpose for creating this?
Um, it was a name change. I think we used to go by the PlayStation Gaming Weekend, and I would stream on the weekends just like now. And then I wanted a name because I wanted to have a group so people could know where to come if they had a PlayStation. And I think the original founder from last gen, his group was the Sony Legion. And I didn't want to use that name because most products are not from Sony. I only game with Sony. I don't have Sony in my life. Like my cell phone and laptop, they're not by Sony. And they probably never will be. Because that's just not what I want to use for that type of shit. But long story short, I decided on PlayStation game at, and the rest was pretty much history.
Do you think you were being too toxic towards people on other platforms?
Um, was I being too toxic to other people on other platforms by creating a group for gamers?
For criticizing them?
No, I mean, doesn't the PC Master Race criticize us for playing games at 30 frames per second? Don't we get criticized for not playing games in native 4K? We get criticized all the time by a community that's bigger than ours. All the time. Do you think that's not toxic?
There's toxic people on every platform.
Yeah, but you've already confirmed there are more people that play on PC than console. So your community is bigger than the console community. All of them. So when you keep talking about low frame rates and low resolutions and being able to do things that we can't do, is that not toxic? Again, your community is huge, right? You talked about it.
Yep.
That's something we've had to deal with all generation from the PC community. I just think it's fair that I fight back and show the world that you guys like some of the shit that we have. Those things being games. I don't know if you like our games because you want to play them or you like our games because you want to mod them. Whatever the reason, I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is, I've had tons and tons of proof, even to this very day, that the PC gamers really like our games. They want our games on their platform of choice. And after bagging on us for all these years about not being able to play games in 4K or not having 120 frames per second games, I mean, it's just funny to me to be able to tease you guys that you can't play the games that you think are inferior to your game. Almost done. Almost done.
Okay.
That looks great.
So currently you have about 8,500 subscribers. However, I was told that you only get, on average, a couple hundred views on your videos, and only at least 10 people watching your streams live on YouTube lately. Don't you think that's kind of strange?
Not really. I mean, I never really invested in YouTube as much as people think. I mean, I did tell you that I work. I don't get donations. I don't beg for them. I don't get a lot of subscribers because I don't constantly remind people to subscribe. I don't really put myself out there a lot. I didn't really get on camera a lot. I wasn't consistent in the videos each week. I think my only consistency is the streams that I do Saturday at 1 o'clock and Sunday at 2 o'clock. So I'm getting more views every so often, getting more people viewing the stream every so often. I think it's progress. Might be smaller than other people, but progress is progress.
Have you heard
I have
about
a style, and I'm not going to really change it for a lot of other people. You know, like a lot of people will say, well, if you buy this console, maybe you get more views. You're nicer to this community, maybe you get more views. That's not something I'm willing to do. I don't want to be a sellout, you know?
Mhm. Have you heard of Sony's censorship policies lately?
Yeah, people's talk to me about it.
So basically, they're censoring M-rated games, which the PC or Switch versions don't have it censored. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's up to them. Whatever they want. I mean, I don't play games to see ass or cleavage. I can see that in my daily life. No disrespect. You know, like You can see that in life. If you have a girlfriend, if you have a wife, or somebody you're talking to, that's where you see that. I don't really necessarily play my video games to see that. I don't watch my animes to see that, although I see it a lot in the animes. And I know that the games that are being censored, the only thing I know about is that some of them have what is pretty obvious to be underage females, and they're not willing to show that. So I've watched tons of animes, and the majority of the anime academy or school setting, meaning that the majority of animes that I watch, all of the girls are underage. They're under the age of 18. In the United States, that's a no-no. Now, in Japan, I think they have an age of consent that is lower. I'm not sure if it's 12 or 13, but it's very low. So the type of animes and games portraying younger females is acceptable by that culture. But in the United States, it's not. So if they want to censor that shit, I'm all for it. It's a different country, it's different rules. If we go by everybody else's rules, then I don't know what that leads to, but that's not what they're clearly trying to do. So, do you think it's all right to fawn over a 12 or 13 or 14 looking female in the United States? Because that could land you in jail. Do you think that's okay?
Not at all.
So, you shouldn't be seeing titties of an underage female. You shouldn't be seeing panty shots of an underage female portrayed in a video game where you know that female is still in school. That's not something you support. So why is it a problem if they're censoring that? The United States has just as many pedophiles as Japan. The difference is we actually do something about them.
Interesting. So, do you think that parents should hold the responsibility of which games their children are allowed to play instead of the company itself?
What do you mean by that?
Like how Nintendo used to I remember Nintendo used to restrict anyone under 17, like anyone with a Nintendo account under 17 to play M-rated games. Like they literally just can't buy them off the store. They have to go out to a GameStop or something to buy them physically. And I know some people would prefer digital, so I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've ever had many problems buying games when I was younger that were mature. And other than that, I would probably get my older brother to buy those. So it's the same as drinking beer. If you're under the legal drinking age, you just get an adult to go buy it that you're cool with. So, I mean, there's ways around that. So it is what it is. Now, if it's like digital and it's connected to your account and you've already set up an age, I don't know how to think about that. Again, I'm an adult. I haven't had to deal with that, so I don't know how to really answer if it's digital.
Alright, one last thing. Do you think that there is anything that Sony could improve with the PlayStation brand or products in particular? And what do you hope that Sony does for next gen?
Um, the ability to have to be able to see your friends. Like, I have a camera, and I know a lot of other people have the PlayStation camera. It will be cool for them to have their own video chat setup. They had it on the PS3. I don't know why they removed it. I hope they bring it back for the PS5 to refine and make the interface even better. It's a very solid interface. I would love for that to be better. Um, Continue to bring out quality. You know, don't feel that you have to follow what someone else is doing. You know, so Everybody last year they wanted crossplay. Sony didn't do it. Yet people still brought their system. They're still sitting at 100 million shipped, despite their crossplay drama last year. So nobody really cared because people kept buying their system. That's what exclusives do. So I would tell Sony to just keep doing what they're doing, and of course, listen to the true gamers that've been supporting you. Listen to the true fans about what they should really do leading into the future. But that's pretty much it. I don't want them to change. I mean, they've been successful all generation because they haven't been like anybody else.
What do you think of the PS5?
I don't know how to answer that because I haven't saw enough. I don't care about the specs. I need to see what the games look like. I need to see how the interface is going to be. I want to know what the lag is going to be. I want to know all of this. I want to see all. So maybe we can do another interview next year when I start to actually see some stuff from the PS5, but I haven't saw enough to give an impression. My focus is on the PS4 and playing what they have to offer until next year.
All right. Also, I've heard you were having like some technical difficulties with your OBS streaming. Do you
Yeah.
want me to suggest a laptop or some hardware that could at least get it?
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
am I mean, I've had this laptop since probably 2013, 2014, something like that. I don't know. It's been a long time. It still works good, but it probably was not made for what we're doing now with streaming and shit, especially with OBS. It probably was not made for that. So definitely. I mean, I can use it for this type of webcam setup. Probably can use it for the setup that I have for Discord tomorrow. But yeah, I am in a market for a new laptop. I guess I'm willing to part ways anything with $400. So pretty sure that's a lot of money, but hopefully it pays off.
Alright, I just sent you some links. There's two laptops that I put in there. They have some pretty decent specs, and they're between the range of 300 and 400.
Oh, that's great. Perfect. Where is there? Great. Great. Phenomenal. Okay. How do we do this? Okay. Mike's still fucking on. How do you cut that off? Hmm.
So, what do you think? Hello? Looks like he lost connection. Alright guys, thank you for tuning in. Uh, this interview went pretty well. And, hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one.